390 BC AD, this is one of the most traumatic episodes in history for the Romans. Ancient chroniclers and historians such as Polybius, Livy, Diodorus Siculus, and Plutarch, who wrote almost 4 centuries later, attest to the depth of this trauma. In 390 BCE, Roman intervention broke the Gallic siege of the Etruscan city of Clusium. The next year, led by the Senones tribe and their chief Brennus, the infuriated Gauls went to war against Rome. The Roman army intercepted the Gauls on the banks of the Tiber, near its confluence with the Allia River, 11 miles north of Rome. The Gallic charge shattered the Romans, who were utterly defeated. The survivors took refuge mainly in Veii. Only a few managed to return to Rome. The complete defeat of the Roman army left Rome defenseless, knowing that in order to raise the largest possible army, the Romans were forced to remove the defenses of the city. After the Gauls defeated the Romans at the confluence of the Tiber and the Allia rivers, the Gauls marched on to Rome. Now nothing seemed to stand in the way of the barbarians and the city of Rome. The day after the battle, as the sun set on July 19th, the Gallic army arrived at the walls of Rome. The gates were not shut and no troops manned the walls. The ease of their victory at the Allia and the undefended city made the Gauls suspect a trap. The Gallic army encamped between Rome and the nearby river Anio, and Brennus sent scouts to ride off to reconnoiter the walls. Inside Rome, the crying for the fallen was replaced by a silent terror. At night, the yelling of enemy cavalry was heard outside the city walls, but no attack came. Most Romans considered their city doomed. The few remaining fighting men could never hold the walls. The only hope was that the citadel on the steep Capitoline Hill could be defended. There the Senate and the men of military age, along with their families, sought refuge. The priests fled the city, carrying their religious relics, alongside many of the plebs who cleared surrounding fields of anything edible. They were sent to Caere, an allied Etruscan city, under the command of the plebeian Lucius Albinius. 2 days later, the Gauls entered the city of Rome without facing any resistance. They were taken aback by the sight of many people who had already managed to escape from their grasp. The leader of the Gauls, Brennus, was embittered because of what he saw.
Before my grandfather's grandfather was born, this was our land. These are good places. Our gods live here, in the trees and rivers. They watch over us. We are happy. We hunt. We love. We have families, homes, and good life. But sometimes we must fight. The Romans disturb the gods. They burn the forests. They take what is ours, wives, children, land. And the Romans talk of how they will help us and protect us. They put us to sleep with golden promises. When we wake, all we had is gone, stolen. They take our sons and turn them into little Romans. Ha! So we fight to keep what is ours. What must stay ours. There can be no peace. No peace with Romans, men of stone and iron and lies. There can be only war.
After setting up a cordon of troops around Capitoline Hill, the Gallic army commenced the plundering of the city. With merciless intent, the Gauls set fires and inflicted death upon any unfortunate souls they encountered, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The remaining inhabitants of the city defended themselves from robberies and violence at the cost of their lives. But the buildings crumbled, streets ran red with blood, and the once proud city of Rome turned into a haunting scene of ruins and ashes. As the sun set on a fateful day, the Gallic army revelled in their conquest, celebrating their ruthless victory over a once mighty civilization. After some time, they gathered to finish off the defenders on the capital. The Gauls advanced up the hill with shields above their heads. To ward off missile fire, the Romans let them come halfway up, to where it was steepest, then charged, completely overwhelming their foes. Deciding to avoid any more fruitless casualties, the Gauls decided to starve the defenders into submission. The Gauls faced food shortage as well. The fire had consumed the city grain supplies, and the surrounding fields were stripped bare. To find food, parties of Gauls set off to loot the countryside. While the siege of the capital continued at Rome, at the city of Ardea, the Roman general Marcus Furius Camillus begins to gather an army of rescuers from allies, survivors who have dug in invades, and the citizens against Gallic raiding parties. Not far from Ardea, Camillus surprised and sorted a large throng of Gauls, and after go to Rome. After looting the countryside, the Gauls came back to Rome. However, the Gauls made a second assault under cover of night. The Gauls attempted to infiltrate the capital by climbing the hill, the Temple of Carmentis. A goddess of birth, the Gauls gained the summit, eluded the Roman guards, and did not even wake the dogs. They could not sneak by the Temple of Juno. However, as the honking of her sacred geese finally alerted the guards. Led by Marcus Manlius, the guards confronted the Gauls. Manlius faced two of the enemy, hewing through the wrist of one of them. Manlius smashed his shield into the face of the other Gaul, who toppled over the wall and down the cliff. The remainder of the Gauls on the parapet was likewise dealt with, while those still climbing were dislodged with javelins and stones. After 7 months of blockade, both the defenders of the capital and the Gauls were reduced to famine. The Gauls also suffered from malaria, which killed them in such numbers that they gathered their dead into piles and burnt them. Nevertheless, the Romans on the capital finally surrendered and agreed to pay £1,000 of gold for the peaceful withdrawal of the Gauls. When the gold was weighed, the Gauls produced heavier, false counterweights. The Romans complained, whereupon Chief Brennus replied, "Woe to the vanquished," and threw his own sword on the scales. At the right moment, Camillus and his army appeared and ordered the Gauls to leave the gold and the city. The Gauls refused to do so, and a chaotic battle amidst the ruins ensued. The malnourished and diseased Gauls were easily expelled from city, with low casualties. After some time at the 8-mile stone on the road to Gabii, the Gauls rallied but were again defeated by Camillus. So this way Gauls were expelled from Rome and its territories. Although the political fallout from the defeat weakened Rome's position in Italy, the city endured and flourished. Not until 8 centuries later, in 410 CE, would Rome again fall to an invader, the Germanic Visigoths. This video is a reenactment and dramatization for educational purposes. The events and details are based on historical accounts and research. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to explore more captivating historical events with us.